Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm Ross Benjamin of rbwins.com, and I got a couple of special guests for you today. It's baseball season, as you can see these young men sporting their Mets and Cubs jerseys. And, you'll see through the course of the year, they won't only sport those jerseys. There's a lot of jerseys in those closets. So anyway, Nick and Tim Earl, welcome aboard, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Very excited. This is kind of I know it's the slower time of the year, but this is kind of the best season for me. Baseball is my number one sport. So I'm always excited for opening day.
Tim, how are you? Nick, I'm sorry. Don't folks, you're going to have to bear with me here. As you can see, they're not only brothers, but they're twins. And I go through this even when there's one of them. I called Nick, who produces our shows at Picks and Parlays. I can't tell you how many times I called him Tim in the first month or two. So Anyway, Nick, glad to have you as well. Any thoughts to start the show?
Yeah, I love baseball. I love the money line sports. I love baseball and hockey. Those are my top two. So I always love trying to find value in those, and those are very similar. And I truly enjoyed looking at baseball.
So we're talking to Tim and Nick Earl from Earl Brothers Sports. Is that correct?
Earl Sports Bets.
Earl Sports Bet, ESB. Okay,
yes.
So on ESP, ESB, one and the same with these two guys. So anyway, baseball, exciting. Today is like I said, today is the 6th of April, which is Wednesday. Tomorrow, the 7th, is the opening day of the Major League Baseball season, which is exciting every year. And we're going to have 3 Major League Baseball free picks for you on Thursday's card, opening day. But before we get to those picks, we're going to go over a couple things, some handicapping tips in Major League Baseball, as well as you're going to get a Major League Baseball totals pick from each one of us. In other words, we're going to pick a team and go over and under their posted regular season win total for the year. So stay tuned. Real exciting stuff here on the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. So guys, I know how good you are in baseball. I worked with you last year. And let's start out by saying this. Which handicapping component do you put a lot of emphasis on when you handicap daily the Major League Baseball card? I'll start with you, Nick.
It's mainly the pitchers. Those are obviously, that's the one thing that changes from day to day. Is you're not getting pitchers going out there pitching 5 days in a row. This isn't Cy Young anymore. The different pitchers matter. And definitely looking at bullpens as well, because one thing that I lived on last season when it comes to baseball is I love my first 5 bets, and I like team totals as well, rather than playing full game money lines and stuff like that, because there were certain teams that I noticed had pitching advantages going into the game for starters, and then their bullpens love to blow games. And I just got tired of that. So I took the bullpens completely out of the mix. Another way to do that is team totals. So keep an eye out which bullpens are very good and which bullpens are very not, because you'll definitely be able to find edges taking those teams that don't have good bullpens in first 5s rather than full games.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, because in this day and age of modern baseball, we see more and more. It doesn't matter what your pitch count is as a starting pitcher. Managers go in with a premeditated plan on how they're going to use their bullpen. Specialization in the bullpen is huge. And one quick question more for Nick before I get to you, Tim. And that's why probably that you love the first 5 innings in terms of betting.
Absolutely. I don't want to have to deal with bullpens, and that takes the stress of having to worry about, I call them failed starters, the bullpen, because nobody goes into baseball saying I want to be a relief pitcher. No, everybody wants to be a starter or a closer. So bullpens are just a bunch of failed starters in my eyes. So I like taking them completely out of the mix if I can.
Yeah, some failed starters are much better than others, though. Mariano Rivera was one hell of a failed
Of course.
Anyway, over to you, my man, in the top left-hand corner, Mr. Tim Earl. Tell us what you put or what you key on in terms of when you look at a Major League Baseball card daily and handicap.
Yeah, it's a lot of situational spots, whether or not they faced off against division rivals the series before. Like one of my favorite spots to go to is fading like the Yankees or the Red Sox after they just had a series against each other the first game off. Same deal last year with fading the Giants and the Dodgers, their first game off of a series against each other. It's more of the, can you find good spots for teams to come off a letdown spot or teams that want to play up? I love like last year betting Baltimore Orioles at home, like plus 250, plus 350 versus the Yankees, because those are always big games. And you bet that 3 games out of the series, they win one of them, you're making money. And it's kind of you got to have the balls to bet bad teams. And if you are taking run lines and big favorites the entire time, my cutoff is around 140, 150 when it comes to baseball. I don't like to go bigger than that. And I'm big on plus money and dogs. So it's all situational and know what you're betting.
Yeah, I agree. I never exceed, I very rarely even approach 140, but I'll never exceed that number. There's exception to every rule, right? But if I do exceed it, it's going to be an occasional 150. And folks, you don't need us for us to give you a money line favor of minus 200, for example. One game loses like that, you got to win 3 to make to even be at a profit margin, and 2 just to get even. The bookies love you. The sports books love you when you make plays like that. So keep in tune with that, folks. Money management is such a key when it comes to money line betting, and that's the surest way to fail, is betting big chalks, money line favorites of 170, 175. I as well, I'm going to look for the same parameters with the underdogs and small favorites, but you're sadly mistaken if you I shouldn't say sadly mistaken because that sounds judgmental, but my theory is that if you ignore totals, you're really hurting yourself. Because here's the thing, if there's 12 games on the Major League Baseball board that day and you eliminate totals, you're narrowing yourself down to 12 selections, unless you're betting first 5 innings, like Nick does. Okay. But let's just say if we're betting, most people just bet the money line, totals, or that's it. So if you eliminate the totals and there's 12 games on the board, you're eliminating 12 choices. I don't know about you guys, but if you give me 24 choices as opposed to 12, I think the chances of us identifying betting value goes up considerably. Agree?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you guys betting totals at all?
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. I won't the first little bit of the season just to see what teams are looking like. Yeah. But if I find a line that I really like or a trend that I'm really going off of with totals, I will follow that trend until it dies. So we will do totals throughout the year. I think for the first week, I want to see what these teams look like first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I always say every year, I tell you what, not only baseball, the exception for me is football. But when I get into basketball and baseball, whether it be the NBA or college basketball, Major League Baseball, even the NHL, when I used to do it every day, I will be doing it in the Stanley Cup playoffs, by the way, folks. And you can find those at rbwins.com. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is the money line betting kind of thing, and also with college basketball point spreads and what have you. I always dip my toe in the water first. You know what I mean? I don't dive head in. So yeah, you want to have a sample size, right, guys? So I agree. Anyway, all right, let's take a look at some Major League Baseball win totals and see who these gentlemen like. And I can tell you, folks, these are two very sharp young men when it comes to sports betting. And I've been doing this a long time, and I pick and choose who I like to deal with. And these two guys here, they're going to be genuine stars in this industry sooner rather than later. So keep an eye on their picks. You can find them at picksandparleys.net. And guys, I didn't give you a chance to even tell me and tell the viewers, what's your own personal website?
Yeah, we have earlsportsbets.com. It's a sister site of Picks and Parlays. So all the cappers, like Ross here, are over on the EarlSportsBets.com site as well. So it's a sister site of picks and parlays. You can find us there. And me and Nick are live every day at 10 a.m. for the Earl Sports Bet Show.
That's something you want to pay attention to, folks. You guys do that show live, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, a live podcast, sports betting podcast, just like you get here on this channel. And that's Earl, E-A-R-L-E, folks, not just E-A-R-L. Very important. So if you look for Earl Sports Bets, which is E-A-R-L, I think it's a porn. No, anyway. Let's go. Let's start with Tim. Tim, who's your pick for in terms of Major League Baseball win total, regular season win totals?
Yeah, I'll give you one of my favorite ones, and I have this team in like every way, shape, and form. I'm going Seattle. I'm going over. I have them over the team total. I think it's 80 something. I don't remember exactly what it's at. I have that over. I have them winning the division at +4 something. Wow. I even have sprinkles, small bets on futures for them to win the AL and the World Series at 28-1. This team got a bunch of big players throughout the offseason, from Winker to Suarez to Robbie Ray. This is a team that's even better than they were last year, and they made us a lot of money last year, and I'm ready to keep riding them this year. I almost had them for tomorrow's slate, but their game got postponed, so don't get to bet them right off the bat, but I'll probably have them on the 8th.
The Seattle Mariners, there's a gutsy pick. I don't have that win total in front of me, but sounds to me like anywhere in the 80s. I think that I could venture to say, by listening to you talk, you think they're going to win 90 plus games, but you want to check that anyway. If it's like 85 or 86.
Yeah, I'm pulling up real quick.
Just to get
exactly what it is.
Just so the viewers know. In any event, again, folks, we're talking
84 and a half.
84 and a half. So 85 wins. Wow. And here's a guy who's taken them, put a bet in already to win the division, to win the league, and to win the World Series. So that's how much he likes this. And that 84 and a half wins, if that's how strongly he feels, that's a hell of a betting value at over 84 and a half regular season wins. All right. The other half of the handsome brother tandem, and I say that loosely, Nick.
Yeah, this one is kind of, I have this feeling that they're going to be similar to the Detroit Tigers of last year. They're going to be one of these sneaky teams that I think can make you money if you go to the window with them every game and bet them every game, and they go 81-81 this year. And I like the Miami Marlins. This is a team that I think is very sneaky. And one thing I truly love about this Marlins team is their starting rotation. They got potential Cy Young contender in Sandy Alcantara, Trevor Rogers, Pablo Lopez, Elijah Hernandez, Jesus Luzardo, Edward Cabrera, which could be a nice young star coming up in this league as well. And their lineup, it's not terrible. Jazz Chisholm had a very nice year last year. Miguel Rojas, Brian Anderson. They got Jorge Solar, Jacob Stallings, Joey Wendell they got from Tampa Bay in the offseason. I think this Miami team is going to be pretty sneaky this year. Yeah, they're in a tough division in that National League East where you have the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies. But I think this is a team that can sneakily find their way into that third slot in that division. And I think I like them over 76.5.
Wow, it's that, and I like that as well. You mentioned about 5 pitchers there, all young, all haven't reached their prime yet. They may very well be on their way to doing that this year, and they play in a pitcher-friendly ballpark, that new ballpark in Miami, which isn't very new anymore. And you know what? The only problem with Miami when they play at home, there's just friends and family there. So that's too bad because it's a good young team. I'm going to look at the New York Mets. How about that, Tim?
There you go. There you go.
The regular season win total is 89.5. I like it over 89.5. I mean, the key here is going to be Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer. If they could stay healthy or be healthy at least 3/4 of the year each. And most importantly, at the crucial time of the year, this is going to be a very difficult team to beat. Now, their closer Diaz at times can be erratic, but when he's on, he's very, very good. And, a formidable lineup. They picked up Chris Bassett as another piece to the rotation. So I like the New York Mets here to go over 89.5 wins. They don't necessarily have to win a division with Atlanta in it, but I think that this might be a top-heavy division with the Mets in Atlanta. Washington, I don't see them being a factor whatsoever. So I'm going with the Mets over 89.5 wins. Tim Earl is going with the Seattle Mariners over 84.5 wins. And Nick is going with the Miami Marlins. I like that too. Over 76.5 wins. And boy, oh boy, Tim's made me think twice. I'm going to have to take a hard look at Seattle because he makes some really solid points in that regard. Anyway, okay, so those are our regular season win totals. It's opening day tomorrow, guys.
Oh,
Let's give the viewers 3 free picks. Before we get to those picks, folks, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. I don't know why you wouldn't do so. We're 41-21 on this channel with our last 31 free pick videos. That's 66%. And you know what? If you think we're full of baloney, go to the archives on the YouTube channel. Go through the videos yourself, the last 31, and the proof is in the pudding. And again, folks, once you subscribe, hit that notification bell. You'll be alerted immediately upon us releasing any of our sports betting videos on this channel. And if you have subscribed and you're one of those people who keep going back and forth to find out when the videos are up daily, don't do that. Go in your account and hit the notification bell. It's a lot easier. You don't have to keep going back and forth, wasting your time. As soon as a video goes up, you'll be alerted to when we do so. So again, subscribe and don't forget to give the good guys a like. We put a lot of time and effort into making our picks and analyzing and giving you the best handicapping information you could on a daily basis. Okay, who am I going to start with in terms of a free pick on opening day? Let me see. All right, I'm going to go with the guy with the Mets jersey in the top left-hand corner. You know why? Because Tim has got that jersey on of the New York Mets, and that was my regular season win totals pick. So he's my favorite for today. Nick, you will be next week. Anyway, go ahead, Tim. Take it away, buddy.
Yeah, for the record, me and Nick are both Mets fans. We were born and raised in New York, so I just had the jersey on first. I told Nick to change. But,
yeah, these guys are from Long Island, by the way, folks. And where are they now? North Carolina. And the guy in the bottom there, he's a student at East Carolina. And if he doesn't pay attention more to his studies instead of sports handicapping until he graduates, I'm going to kick his ass. And so is Craig Trapp. Anyway, go ahead, Tim. Take it away. I didn't mean to interrupt you, buddy.
No, you're good. You're good. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I like my dogs. We're going to start off with the San Diego Padres, who are in Arizona. And I'm going to give you a dog. It's not pretty, but you got to do it at some points of the year. I'm taking the Diamondbacks on opening day. If you don't want to grab them on the money line, I believe it's around a 145. You can get them plus a run and a half at minus 115. It's more of I'm not as high on this Padres team as most people are. Yu Darvish did not have a good year last year. I don't expect him to change anything because he is now another year older. He is not the same Yu Darvish that pitched for the Texas Rangers and the Chicago Cubs earlier in his career. He had like a 4.22 ERA last year, which is not Yu Darvish numbers. Madison Bumgarner is pitching for the Diamondbacks. I know he did not have a good year either. I'm not expecting either of these pitchers to have a relatively good game. I just like this Diamondbacks lineup just a tad more right now, and especially getting plus money with them at home. I am not high on this Diamondbacks team by any stretch of the imagination. It's more of I'm not as high on the Padres. They're going to be still without Francisco Tatis Jr. for about 2 months, and that's going to take a big bat out of their lineup. Will Myers has not played well the last couple of years. Manny Machado was almost non-existent last year. They had a couple of good players. Cronenworth and Grisham played well. Luke Voigt's coming into this team. I'm not sure how he's going to relatively do. Austin Nola is the catcher. He had an okay year last year. I don't see any of these guys having crazy good years. And I'll even give you guys one more. I don't think the Padres are going to be competing right now with the West. I think they're going to be sellers at the deadline. So Starting it off, regular season, opening day, we're taking the Arizona Diamondbacks on the money line. If you don't want to take them all the way on the money line, plus a run and a half as at minus 115.
Yeah, well, plus 150 on the money line. That's a heck of a value. And he makes a good point. I mean, Yu Darvish last year, 2 starts in Arizona last year. How about he only lasted 5 1/3 innings in those 2 starts, allowed 10 earned runs, 14 hits while walking 2. Not very good. So yeah, I think that's a heck of a betting value. If you just base it on the starting pitchers, Madison Bumgarner, not a shell of what he used to be, but we saw at times last year, he put together some really, really good performances. And yeah, you make a good point again, Tim. Fernando Tatis out of the middle of that lineup is going to be a huge thing right now for the Padres. So anyway, Nick, let's get to you. See who you like, my man.
Yeah, it's going to be in the definitely the marquee match. I'm joking. It's between the Cleveland Guardians and the Kansas City Royals. The first game as the Guardians, and I'm going to look to back them here. For me, plain and simply, this would be more of a lean towards the first 5 rather than a full game in this one, though. I love Shane Bieber, and I think he's going to be someone that's going to compete for the AL Cy Young Award this year. Obviously, he did not pitch that much last year. He got injured last year, but this is still a massive pitching advantage that Cleveland has. Now, I'm not in love with this lineup that Cleveland's bringing out this year. They still got some talent on the top of it. Andres Jimenez, Med Rosario, Framil Reyes, and Jose Ramirez. I do like those bats at the top of the lineup. But when you get to the bottom of the lineup, you get guys like Austin Hedges and Bradley Zimmer, and Oscar Mercado. I'm not in love with this lineup, but this is just a play on the pitcher for me here. And you're only laying around minus 115, minus 120 on Shane Bieber in this matchup against Zach Greinke and a Kansas City Royals team that, yeah, they've got some interesting pieces, but I just don't trust this pitching staff for Kansas City. And they've got a decent lineup. They're going to hit the ball. But I like Shane Bieber and the Cleveland Guardians here in this first game of the season for them. I'll take them. And then I'll also lean towards an under in this game as well.
Yeah, I mean, Shane Bieber at minus 120 against a marginal winning team. Yeah, that's a pretty good betting value as well. And Zach Greinke, the starter for Kansas City, he returns to where he started his career.
Yep.
And everything comes full circle in baseball, it seems like. But in any event, Greinke is not a shell of what he used to be either. I mean, he's turned into more of a finesse pitcher. Yep. And if he's not getting the corners and he's got an umpire that's a little bit hitter friendly, watch out, because he can no longer overpower hitters the way he did at one time. So there you have it. You have Tim with Arizona plus 150. Nick, he's got the Cleveland Indians minus 120. Now it's me, right? Okay.
Yep.
All the pressure's on with these 2 young guys. I'm telling you, I'm out of breath just trying to keep up with them, and I only been on the show for 15 minutes with them. Anyway, the Houston Astros at the LA Angels. And that game goes at 9:40 tomorrow evening, or Thursday evening, I should say, depending on when you view this video. It may even be today. Any event. I'm going to focus on the total in this game, which is 8.5. The LA Angels, by the way, minus 125 as we speak right now. And keep in mind, folks, the money line odds and totals we give you are subject to change. We're taping 24 hours in advance, but we always grade the picks on this channel, whatever we give you at the time of the video when we record. Now, sometimes that works for us, and sometimes it works against us. So in any event, Shani Otani, 1-4 in his career versus Houston with a 6.87 ERA and a 1.73 WHIP. If you know anything about me and my sports handicapping when it comes to Major League Baseball, I put a lot more emphasis on WHIP than I do on ERA, because ERA could be misleading, and 1.73 WHIP with a 6.87 ERA is not very good to start with. Could be a lot worse with the 1.73 WHIP. I just think Otani has that ability to wiggle out of jams because he's a power pitcher. But in those 5 starts versus Houston, he's only lasted an average of 4.3 innings pitched per start. And I'm not crazy about what I'm seeing right now on paper with the LA Angels bullpen. Now, the Angels will be facing Framber Valdez, a left-hander. And last year, the Angels were 19-9 to the over versus left-handed pitchers at home. So in those 28 games, average 11.3 runs scored per game. And according to what I'm seeing here, the Houston Astros, a road underdog of 115 or greater last year, they were 17-6 to the over. And since 2019, this series has gone 19-9 and 1 to the over, including 10-4 and 1 to the over in games played in Anaheim. You guessed it. I like the Houston Astros and the LA Angels over 8.5. And once again, Tim Earl, he likes the Arizona Diamondbacks plus 150. And Nick, he likes the Cleveland Indians minus 120. 6 picks here, folks. 3 Major League Baseball regular season win totals. Also 2 money line picks for tomorrow and a winning total for tomorrow. We're going to go 3-0. Before we leave, guys, let the one by one. Let's start with you, Nick. Tell the folks how well you've been doing of late, if there's any streaks you should be looking for. And again, you can find these guys at earlsportsbets.com or at picksandparleys.com. And I'm on both of those sites as well. So go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, it's been pretty good lately. In our last 7 days, we are 31-18, up 12 units. So over on the site. So yeah, we've been doing pretty well. I know Tim's been doing pretty good in the NBA. I don't remember exactly his record. And I at one point last week was on an 8-1 NHL run. So both those sports have been actually doing really well since the end of the college basketball season. So yeah, we're able to focus more on the 2 sports right now with NHL and NBA. And then we're also going to have MLB starting soon as well.
Okay, Tim, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, me and Nick have been doing well at the last little while. NBA is 36-21 the last 30 days. That's up 13 units. And looking back at MLB last year, we went 181 and 172, up 12.5 units on the site. So hoping to have another really good regular season. Baseball is our strong sport. That's the sport that me and Nick come together for. And 2 heads are better than 1. We do pretty well when it comes to baseball. So I'm excited for the big regular season coming up, and hopefully we can get another good season.
Yeah, I mean, again, folks, don't get caught up. 181 and 172, get caught up with how many units they were up by doing that, because it's all about return on investment. In Major League Baseball, we know guys that could hit 60% and lose you a ton of money because they're giving you all big chalks. Anyway, you can find me at rbwins.com. You can find me at picksandparleys.net. You can find me at earlsportsbets.com. That's plural. And that's EARLE. Don't forget that, folks, because I told you, if you misspell it, you never know what you're going to see. Anyway, until the next time, folks, for the Earl brothers and Ross Benjamin, we all like to wish you all the very best. Good luck and God bless, folks.